Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. So this would be our first day of learning AZ104 administration. We call it as AZ104, nothing but the Microsoft paper, we call it as 104, and where we'll be starting our journey into Azure administration. And here a little about myself, and this is myself, and this is my picture, and you can call me Naren if you'd like to. And I've trained more than, numbers are again way beyond this again, but ultimately I possess 20 plus years of experience and I've been into IT for 20 plus years. And I work for majority of my experience lies from Microsoft, Stanford University, and again Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I came back to India like a couple of years back, and I started my own company. Parallelly, I'm also working for some organization as a solutions architect, where I gained a lot of IT nuts and bolts of kind of experience I've already gained. Based on that, I thought of continuing my teaching appetite. I like teaching actually. That is where I've been continuing my training also, right? Not nothing beyond that, but ultimately, who are going to learn this cloud, right? Whenever you are planning to become an Azure administrator, who is it meant for, right? So as a cloud administrator, what are the roles and responsibilities? Again, here in this moment, you may not get it, all the things, but ultimately, course requires some knowledge on some virtualization, VMs, DNS, DHCP, firewalls, VPNs, AD, groups, and all those things. Some basic level of understanding it requires. But ultimately, since I spoke to each of you already, right, you're already aware of all these things, right? So now, what are we learning in this course is what we are going to see now, right? So here, in this one, we have totally 11 modules, right? We've got 11 modules here. In these 11 modules, we'll begin with identity, where we'll be learning about Active Directory, and here we'll learn about compliances like RBAC roles, policies, and again, good items where you can provide governance to your company, nothing but Azure Cloud. And here you'll be learning about Azure administration. Name means as administration, but again, you are going to learn how are you going to manage your Azure. So different ways of managing Azure is covered under this module 3. And you have dedicatedly having 3 modules only for networking. So networking basics are covered here. And here we'll be learning about inter-site connectivity like VPN gateways, tiering, and so on. And here you will be learning about high-level components like load balancer, application gateway, and traffic manager. So totally three modules are completely dedicated for this networking. And then we'll move ahead with storage accounts, virtual machines, serverless computing. And in serverless computing, we'll be learning about web apps, and again, containers, Azure Kubernetes services. Those things are covered here. And then we will move into how to protect your virtual machines, how to protect your files, how to implement disaster recovery. All those things are covered under here. And then finally, we will wind up with how to implement monitoring. Means how are you going to monitor your Azure resources is all covered under monitoring. So holistically, these are the 11 modules you can expect. And again, on top of it, you can build your skills. And like if you are coming from database background, you have to opt for another module called BP300. If you are coming from security background, you need to opt for SC200. And if you want to polish your skills towards architecting, then you need to go for AZ301 and 303 and 304. And again, if you would like to go to DevOps, then it is AZ400. Likewise, I'll be mentoring all those things when we reach that stage. But ultimately, this is all we cover in this module, right? So to start with our journey into cloud, so where I'll be using some whiteboards, and again, I'll be using my drawings and all those things, right? So, 1 second. Yeah, so when it comes to weightage, so this is again the weights offered again for each module, right? So when you go for certification, this is how you need to target your preparation, right? And all these things are obtainable from Microsoft. When we reach that stage, then I'll guide you how to prepare for examination and again how to crack your exam. So that I'll take care of it. But for now, let us see what is a cloud, right? The first thing is comes into mind is what is cloud. Everybody knows it, what is a cloud, but in my definition, I call it as a supermarket, right? Why am I calling it as a supermarket, right? So when you go to supermarket, so you go and again I go and again he goes or whatever it, whoever goes to supermarket, they'll pick up their items and they'll pay for items and they'll check out, right? It's a three-step process. So everybody, whoever goes to supermarket, they'll pick up the items, pay for it, and again check out and come out, right? That's it. So this, it's like a three-step process. Means if you want to buy some groceries, you'll go to cloud. If I want to buy some furniture, I'll go to, supermarket. I'm taking an example of a supermarket. If again he wants to buy something like related to some dairy products, go to supermarket. Means a supermarket is a place where everything is sold centrally, right? Similar to that, cloud is also same. There is no difference in cloud also. But cloud is for what? Cloud is for IT companies. So you have all IT companies, right? We have several hundreds, thousands, lakhs of IT companies are there, right? For all of those IT companies, where will they go to buy things? To the cloud, right? So cloud again, it's no magic actually. It's similar to a supermarket where they go and buy whatever they want. As a software company, as a development company, as a product-based company, or whatever it is, means all IT companies will go to cloud and buy the products what they want and pay for it, and pay for it, and pay for it. And it's as simple as that. So supermarket and cloud, we call it as marketplace, right? So marketplace is again a place where I will go and purchase things. So how does it look like if I go to cloud? How does it look like, right? If I get into my cloud, like if it is Azure, portal.azure.com. This is the URL you need to get inside. Once you sign up, I'll show you how to sign it up. But again, let us understand some basics of cloud. Then we will get into that, right? So it's no difference actually. Supermarket and a marketplace, both are same. Like all IT companies will go there and buy the solutions, buy the services, pay for it. That's it. So this is my cloud, and here if I just search for something like marketplace, right? I'll be getting something here, marketplace, right? So for example, I want to purchase some SD-WAN. Assume SD-WAN in the sense I want to connect my data center to Azure. I want something called SD-WAN. And if I want to purchase an SD-WAN, I'll come to marketplace, and from here I will search for SD-WAN. Like I'm searching for a sugar online, right? If I go to Amazon.com, I purchase whatever I want. Similarly, for IT companies, they come to marketplace, no matter any product. If it is Azure, it is marketplace. Amazon also it will be marketplace, or Google also it will be marketplace. Maybe names different, but ultimately the selling point will be the one-stop shop, right? So here, if I see SD-WAN, I got a lot of things, right? Like same way, if you go to Amazon and search for some pen drive or search for some cell phone, right? It will give you a lot of options. Here also same thing. So these are all vendors selling their products inside my marketplace, right? So when you go to Amazon, what happens? If you search for Google or goggles, right? If you search for goggles, it will give you n number of goggles, list of goggles sold by list of different vendors. Similarly here also, whatever product you are searching it here, it will show it here. It means sold by different vendors. So they're all, we call it as ISVs, we call it as, right? Integrated service vendors, we call it as. Likewise, if you have any product to sell, you can tie up with Azure and you can sell your product here. So likewise, it's like a marketplace where IT companies come and purchase the required services and again pay for it. So likewise, cloud is again doing very great job in selling products, right? Yeah. So Is it breaking? Is my voice breaking for everybody, or is it only to Raju?
Actually, the voice is only for
voice is not breaking, but some disturbance is coming.
Disturbance is coming, yeah. Like an ups and downs or something where I'm missing something.
Yeah, but
so
there may be some loose
breaking
connection,
is there
something like that.
voice is a bit low actually. Volume is low. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, how about now?
Yeah, it's clear, but maybe you can proceed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So ultimately, what I meant was, cloud is nothing but collection of solutions and services sold by the vendors, sold by the product owners, right? Where customers go and purchase. It's like a central repository of services sold, and from there, people will come and purchase things. So it's as simple as that. So likewise, cloud has become a very, very limelight these days. It's very, very useful for all these small size, medium size, and again large size companies. It has become a limelight for everybody. It has become a necessity for almost every company, right? So likewise, there are different cloud providers: Google Cloud, Amazon, IBM, and again Alibaba. Again, there are a lot of clouds are available. Not one or two, dozens of clouds are available. Among those, Google, Amazon, and again Azure. These are the leading ones. And
so
Oracle is also
there. Disturbance is coming actually, like in the sense voice is not clear actually sometimes.
Oh, is it? I mean, is it only with you, or is it with everybody?
That is what my question to all. Is it fine for you?
Are you having? I mean,
voice is fine, but there is a lot of kind of disturbance. That's current noise. It may be connection, some connection, something like loose connection.
Okay, 1 second. Let me, actually I'm on Bluetooth. Let me hook up wired headphones.
Raj, what about you?
Yeah. So I was talking about the marketplace, right? So marketplace is a central repository for each product provider. Like for Azure, you have something called marketplace where companies will come and purchase their products, right? So similarly, every company has got its own marketplace, and this is like a supermarket. Again, to define what is a cloud, cloud is collection of solutions and services. Simple. It's as simple as that. There is no difference. So when we are learning cloud, there are some terminological terms we have to learn about, right? For example, if I want to start my company, right? My company is called Wilma Technologies. I want to start my company in cloud. So what should I do? So first thing is, I need to start something called Azure AD, right? And then I need to add something called subscriptions, right? So this you may not understand it like this. So let me give you another example, right? For example, you have a house, right? You bought a house. Who will live there in a house? Your family members, right? And can they live just like that in the house, or do they want any household items? Right? They cannot live, right? Only people cannot live in the house. This is a house actually. And in the house we have family members, means people are there. But can they live without any household items? They want household items, right? Without these things they cannot survive and they cannot live. Same way, in the cloud, it is a company, right? A company, what it needs employees. Without employees it cannot work, right? And same way, employees have to have some work, right? They have to have some work. So where will they work? So they will work in something called subscription, and this subscription will have all the resources. So here household items, nothing but resources, but these resources are within something called subscription, and here employees are there in the directory called Azure Active Directory. Likewise, if you compare a house with a company, you will find family members are nothing but people. Here you call them employees. If you want to hire employees, you need to create them identity, and for creating identity you have Azure AD, and again to let them work within your company you have something called subscription, and inside the subscription you'll have all the resources. So likewise, a house and a company both actually are similar. There is no much difference, right? So yeah. Okay.
Sir, 1 minute, give me break. I will join from other device. Okay, 1 minute.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. So whenever you want to start a company in Azure, what you need is you need to sign up. The moment you sign up, what happens here? It will give you the ability to employ employees. Means you can employ your employees. You can ask. You can start your company by letting your employees join your company and again start working with your company for your services. So likewise, you are letting your people come in and you are giving them resources so that they can provide you all services. Likewise, it's very simple. So first thing is you need to sign up, and the moment you sign up, you'll be getting something called subscription, and this subscription is the place where you will create all the resources. So these are all resources, we call it as. So all these resources will go into this subscription, and this subscription is tied up with Azure AD. Likewise, this is your identity provider and this is resource provider, right? So if you want identities, you will use Active Directory, and if you want resources to be created, you will use subscription. It is similar to what, for example, you want to go for some internet connectivity, right? So as a person, what I want internet. So if I want internet, what I'll do, I'll go to AT&T, right? And I will ask them to get me internet, right? Then what they will do, they will ask me a reverse question, right? What plan you want, right? They will simply ask me what plan. Same way, if I go to Netflix, they will put the same question, what plan you want. Same way, if I go to any service, if I want to open a bank account, right? Or if I want to open a Netflix account, or if I want anything in the world, right? First thing they will ask you, what is the plan you are looking for, right? So that my billing is based on the plan. Here also same thing. When you want Azure, what is required? You need to go with some planning. So first thing is, if it is a company, then first thing is what they will need is Azure Active Directory. So once they sign up this one, then it will have a plan along with. That plan is nothing but a subscription. Right? So this subscription will actually give me space for creating all the resources. So what is the resource here? VM, database, network, storage, web apps. Means whatever IT terminology, right? Whatever you hear it in IT, it's all those things are called resources. There is no much hidden meaning for them. So likewise, all these things are qualified as resources. If you want all these resources, you need a subscription. To get a subscription, you need an account, right? As a company, what I will do, I will sign up. The moment I sign up, I will be getting an Active Directory, and immediately I need to sign up for a plan here. The moment I plan it, then I'm ready for my company. That's it. So all this will happen within 10 minutes. If I want to spin up my company in the Azure, it's a matter of just 10 minutes. So then what I need here, I just need a credit card. That's it. If I have a credit card, I'll start my company in cloud within 10 minutes. It's as simple as that. And again, it's very simple and again very easy to spin up a company. Same thing if you want to start a company outside of the cloud, right? For example, if you want to start a company physically, and if you want to start a company physically, we call it as data center. So what is data center? Data center will have all racks and again all servers, right? All the servers will be there inside the racks. Complete infrastructure will be there inside the data center. And for this you need a physical site, right? For finding physical site, how much time it will take? It will take maybe 1 month to 6 months. We don't know, right? And again, for bringing this racking will take 1 month, and for adding these servers it will take 1 month, and again building these servers will take another month. So altogether, if everything goes as planned, minimum 3 months required to start my company on premise, right? But in cloud, it's just matter of 10 minutes. starting a company in cloud, it is just 10 minutes. That is the reason most of the companies are preferring to go with cloud these days, and whoever has got their data centers already, they are moving to cloud. So this is what the current situation is. For example, if I establish my company in 2012, right? In 2012, I have a physical site, means my company is representing in some physical location, and where I have built my data center, and where I have built all my racking and stacking, all infrastructure is there. And now we are in cloud era, right? So why do I want to waste my money on renting, waste my money on AC, waste my money on current bill, right? Waste my money in maintaining of hardware, right? So all these things are eliminated if you go to cloud. So that is the beauty of cloud. Just by signing up an Azure account, I'll be getting whatever I was getting on premise, I'll be getting it in cloud. It's as simple as that. But again, how will a cloud look like? I told you, right? It is very simple here. So the moment you sign up an account, it will look like this. A light page, very light page it will appear, but it is very complicated. And here you'll be seeing your account name here. So my account, again, I signed up as narendra_mithamlive.com, and I named my company as wilmatech.com. And the moment I do that, I'll be getting something called Active Directory here, right? So assume that I have started my company today, assume. And as soon as I start my company, what I need next, right? For example, I want to start my company in digital world, right? I want to be available digitally, World Wide Web, right? In such case, what I did, I have signed up Azure, and the moment I signed up Azure, I'll be getting something called Azure Active Directory and a subscription. So these two things are required. This will provide resources and this will provide users. So users and resources, nothing but IT company. Without these two things, I cannot run my company, right? I need people and I need resources. What resources? I just told you, right? VMs, databases, web applications, storage, network, all these things are required. So all these things are possible within the subscription. So ultimately, in order to reach this thing, it's a matter of just 10 minutes, I told you, right? Within 10 minutes, I can spin up my company, and by having a credit card, I can spin up my company. So it's as simple as that. So once I do that, what happens is I'll be getting an Active Directory as a company. For example, it's me, and I got this one. You will see this Active Directory. And here, it will give me the ability to employ people, to hire people, right? If I want to hire people, this is how I will start my company. I'll go to Active Directory, and here I will create using user accounts. I will create I will create user accounts for my employees. So here I'll just start, say, new user, right? And here, for example, some employee has joined my company, and for him I will create a user account. For example, I'll say AC, and my company domain is for example, wilmatech.com, right? And his name is Alan Carter, right? He is the person who joined my company, and his name is Alan Carter. And again, I'm creating a password for him. Auto-generated password is again always better than a manually created password. So what I'll do, I'll see what password is my system assigning it. So I'll just capture this password, right? And I'll open up my email account, right? And here what I will do, assume I'm going to send these details to Alan Carter on his private email address, right? So here what I will do, I'm again coming back to Azure here, right? I got the password, and here what is he? So I'm calling him as a solutions architect, right? And where is he working from? He's working from India, right? I'll select India here, whichever country he works from. And here, which department is he? He belongs to IT department. And what is the company name? Right? So likewise, I'll be fulfilling all the parameters, and I'll say create. Means I am the owner here. I just started my company, and I just hired a person, and I've created a user account for him. Now I'm going to share these details with him. So here, this is the name for the user account. What I'll do, I'll just share these details to that guy, right, on his private email address. So I'm just showing example I'm giving you. Here I'll be using his private email address and sending these details. Now assume that I'm playing a role of Alan Carter. Assume me as a Alan Carter. So this is my assume me as an Alan Carter for now. So Alan Carter again opened up a browser here, and he'll go to portal.azure.com, right? And here Alan Carter, what is the credentials he has got? ac@wilmartech.com, right? And again he will type the password what he was shared, right? This is the password he was shared by his employer, right? And here the moment he types in, it will ask him to change the password for the first time login. So here he will change the password, and here he will use his own password which he feels like using it, right? And this way what happens, Alan Carter is my employee and he's a part of Wilmar Technologies, and he just logged in, right? Can you see, he has just opened a browser and he is into wilmartech.com now he has opened a cloud now, right? This is, if you click here you can see all the resources. Likewise, users creation is pretty easy and very straightforward, and again no matter of time you can create any number of users. So likewise, I can employ people, I can hire people, and I can create a user account for all my employees, and I can give them credentials and they can log into the company on the cloud. As soon as they have internet, they can connect to my company remotely and they can start supporting my company. So it's as simple as that. And again on the left hand side, he doesn't see the resources, and for that click on settings here, and here appearance, and say docked, DOCKED, and say apply. Then he can see all these things, right? So this is again Alan Carter. I'm again going back to my original role, Narendra again. I'm Narendra now. So now as a Narendra, I have created an account and shared all these details to Alan Carter, and now Alan Carter is able to log into the company, and that's it. Narendra has fulfilled all his responsibilities for creating Alan Carter user account and given him access. Now what Alan Carter does, who is this Alan Carter? Alan Carter is a solutions architect. So Narendra has added Alan Carter for supporting his company, right? And now he will have his own responsibilities and he will deliver his own responsibilities. Based on his responsibilities, Narendra will give him access, required access, right? I'm just giving you the flow, how it goes, right? For example, Alan Carter, I'm switching back to Alan Carter now. So as an Alan Carter, right? Now Alan Carter is trying to create some SQL database, assume, right? So here if he tries to click on SQL database, he clicked it, and again he is trying to click on SQL database create, and what is he seeing? There is no account, means you don't have a subscription, right? Explore free subscription for 30 days it is saying. Though Alan Carter is part of wilmartech.com, but still he doesn't have access to the subscription here. If he clicks on subscription, right? If he types subscription in this global search box, he will not get anything here because he is not authorized. He is not authorized to work on any subscription. Now Alan Carter says, hey Narendra, I don't see any subscription. I want to create a SQL DB, right? And then Narendra again what he does, I'm going back to Narendra's role now. So Narendra what he does now, Narendra will go back to subscriptions, right? This is the subscription, we call it as, and in this subscription, I mean we will learn all these details in detail going forward, but just to keep you in the flow, I'm taking you with the flow. So here Narendra what he does, Narendra will give access to Alan Carter on this subscription. Now for that, access and access control, identity and access management we call it as. You have to click on this. Once you click on this, here you have, I mean Narendra will see an option called add here and add a role assignment, right? And now Narendra will give him some role here. So here Narendra will select something called contributor. We'll learn all these things later, right? For time being, I'm just giving him this privilege here. Now select Alan Carter. The moment you select Alan Carter, means you in the sense I selected. As a Narendra, I've selected it. And then I'll inform Alan Carter, hey Alan, can you please log off and log out? Now Alan Carter, what he does? he will log out and log in. See, Alan Carter now doesn't have subscription yet. Means if he's trying to create any of these resources, he cannot create. So now Alan Carter will sign out, right, and signs in. The moment he signs in, he will see the subscription, because earlier he had no access on the subscription. Now he has got access on the subscription. As a result, he can create anything within the subscription based on the privilege he is given, right? So now Alan is typing his password, whatever he was using, right? Hope you're all with me, right? Right. So now Alan Carter again tries to create a SQL DB now. Let us see what happens. Right. Now he can see this thing. Right. If he is trying to create a SQL, he can do that because he is now authorized. Right. Now if he is just going and filling out all these details, all the parameters, right? All these parameters if he is filling out, he'll be able to create such SQL, and also anything, whatever he sees here, he can create anything, any of these resources. We call all of these as resources: SQL DB, function, VM, load balancer, storage, networking, and whatever you place it here. I mean, you can put them as favorites here actually. So here, Alan Carter can work on any of these things. If he's trying to create a storage account, yes, he can do that because now he is authorized. Right? So likewise, my company will start and hire people and will give access at a subscription level, and then they will be able to create the resources. That's it. This is the flow, and this one can be done within no time, right? As I told you, just within a matter of 10 minutes, I can do this thing. If I have people readily available, that's it. Just in 30 minutes, I can stand up my company in cloud and start my business. That's it. It's as quick as that, right? Any questions so far?
Not one question. If you go to there, this guy is able to access all resources in one go, or you need to have separate each one. Suppose now he is able to access. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please.
So what I did was, see, you have a. So this is a assume. This is a gated community. Assume. Right?
Okay.
And here you have lot of houses.
Yeah.
Right. Now Alan Carter is granted access to this gated community, this entire gated community. Will he have access to all these houses?
No.
No, it depends.
Access means depends because that it depends, of course. Yeah.
Because it all depends on the type of granting permission. What permission?
Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah.
for example, in this case, right? For example, assume this as an Azure, right? And these are all resources. And these are all resources, and all resources are there in one subscription. This is a subscription actually. Now what happened?
Okay, so then
Now I granted him access at a subscription level of reading, writing, executing, and deleting with the help of contributor role. With the help of that, what happens now? Alan Carter has got a privilege, has got an authority now to get into the subscription and read, write, execute, delete. Read, write, execute, delete means any of the resources he can read, write, execute, and delete. That privilege I have given him means he has got access to everything within this subscription. Right?
So you can restrict it. We can restrict him for.
Yes, we can take complete control, right? See, for example, if we go back to the gated community example, right? So this is again my house, assume, right? And my relative has come. So relative will come inside the house and he will go only to my house, right? He cannot go to other houses, right?
Yeah.
Same here also, same thing. So this is again Alan Carter, for example, he is a database administrator. So this is again database, right? And Alan Carter should be granted only to the databases. Only then he can access only databases, nothing else.
Okay.
I can do that. It's all completely in my hands. Whatever I want to do, I can do that. But ultimately, what is it we want to do? That is all done by solutions architects. Right? So first thing what company does is companies, whenever they establish companies in Azure, right, they will sign up. First thing is sign up. So when they sign up, what will they get? They will get Azure AD. And the second thing will be subscription. This is again plus mark here. Subscription, and in this subscription we'll have all the resources, VMs, databases, storage account, network, right? All resources will be within this subscription.
Still your voice is very low for me. Everybody.
Just can you see your volume in your end?
Yeah, my volume is showing 100 actually. How about others? How about you guys?
Yeah, for me okay. I don't have any problem.
So because when you talking,
for me it's low.
Yeah, that's who is it for you? Sorry to
For me it's low.
Exactly, no. The sound is low actually. You guys are talking, I'm able to hear.
Even I am feeling very low only. Okay. Even I joined from other device like mobile, and I'm watching from the laptop.
Can you check?
Sound is very low.
One second. Let me check my mic balance because. Right. So idea behind this was, right. So when I say Azure AD, right. This Azure AD actually what it does is it will do two things here: authentication and authorization, right? Why do we need this one? We have users here. So these are my employees, and employee is logging into cloud. When he is logging into the cloud, this is the one which will actually authenticate and authorize. Authentication means allowing him inside to get into the cloud by verifying his user credentials, username and password. It will allow him to get into the cloud. And after coming into the cloud, he has got VMs, he has got databases, he has got storage account, and a lot of things are there. And again, granting them access to is nothing but authorization. Means Azure AD is required for allowing users to come inside and also to allow them access the resources. Means authentication plus authorization. In this process, what happens if a user is already logged in? He has already logged in, right? When he has logged in, and behind the scene, if the administrator has performed some changes to this user has to log out and again log in to get the new changes applied. That way what happens? He will be getting new tokens here. We'll talk about authentication process in some time, but meantime, this is how it goes. A user logs into the Azure and gets authenticated and also gets authorized for accessing the resources. So that is the purpose of having Azure AD. Without Azure AD, we cannot run the show. Azure AD does what? It will authenticate and authorize. Authenticate means it will cross-verify. For example, Alan Carter, right? I have created a user account for Alan Carter, and where is this Alan Carter available? Actually, it's available within the Azure AD, right? And here I have created that user account. Sorry. So I have created a user account here, and when Alan Carter actually tries to log in, right? So this is authentication. Authorization. So Alan Carter is here. This is the guy who is logging in, gets authenticated. When he is getting authenticated, it will validate whether he is a real user or not by validating against the user credentials, means user account and the password whatever he has supplied in his laptop. It will be passing on to the Azure AD where it will validate. If they are okay, then what happens? It will ask the subscription, hey, do you have anything for him? Subscription says yes, database he is authorized to access. Here is the token. And then the token is presented back to the Alan Carter. And again, Alan Carter, when he is trying to access the database, he will present the token back and the database will allow him. It's like a ticket granting ticket, we call it as. So likewise, every time a user logs in, he gets authenticated. Every time a user tries to access a resource, he will get authorized. Means not everybody is authorized to access everything in Azure, right? Because Azure is very huge. In your company, a developer cannot touch something related to infrastructure. An architect can touch everything. An app owner can touch only his own app. Likewise, we have authorizations. So this using these authorizations only, we can take control of the resources. Who can do what, right? So likewise, we need Azure AD for two purposes: authentication and authorization. So not only about creation of the user accounts. Creation is okay, but at the same time, you need to take control of what's going on in the cloud, right? So for that purpose, we need someone to authenticate and someone to authorize, and that is Azure AD.
Okay. So in this case, authentication is done already. So you mean to say authentication and authorization are going one after another? Like, you are saying like, okay, one person has entered the, you said apartment or somewhere inside. And okay, if we give keys in between, it is not sufficient. He has to go back and come from the beginning. So
no,
is it the case?
Not like that. Not like that. At the time of logging in itself, see, for example, Alan Carter, this is the machine he is working on, right? He logged into Azure using internet, right? Here is Azure, here is the database, right? And here he has got Azure AD. So Azure AD, what it does? First it will authent, right? First, when username and password is supplied by Alan Carter, it will be read by the Azure AD. Again is the user database here, right? And after, as soon as it does it, there will be somebody called ARM, Azure Resource Manager. And this Azure Resource Manager, what it does, it will see what to be given access to this user. Means user has logged in and he is still not authorized to get inside. Means he has authentication is over. Now before letting him inside, ARM actually does a second portion of it. It sees whatever he is authorized. He is authorized to access a VM. He is authorized to access a web application. Likewise, every resource will be having a token. And that to all those tokens, what it does, it will bundle all those tokens. Means ARM actually ensures that all these tokens are collected and attached to this user account and given back. And he will be now fully authorized and authenticated. Whenever he is trying to access a particular resource, then the resource will ask him, where is my ticket? And the ticket, already user has got that ticket, right? He produces the ticket. Means it's all automatic process. We need not worry about it. Azure AD plus ARM will take care of all those things. The moment user enters inside, he will be having lot of tickets with him. Each ticket is meant for one purpose. Yeah.
Like my question is like, so when authentication and authorization, why then there are two? Because they see when the user is trying to log in again, so when you are authenticating, that time itself you can attach the permissions, whatever it may be, the user have. If at all, when we add something in the middle, probably the authorization may help, because sometimes we may remove the permission. Okay, if you as admin you have created user and you give some extra access to him. Okay, he was working there, but he removed the access. Then can he continue the same time in the using that Azure, or he has to?
He will not.
Once he will
not.
Yeah.
No, okay. He will not. Yeah, those changes are treated as immediate changes.
But only login is for accessing first time. He has to log in.
Not first time actually. See, in order to get full exact ACLs, we call it as ACLs, we call them, right? Access control list. So each access control list is nothing but having the permissions, what level of permissions you have, right? Read permissions or write permissions or delete permissions, like all those things we call it as RW, XP and so on, right? So these are some of the ACLs: read ACL, write ACL, execute ACL, and again delete ACL. All these are ACLs. So these ACLs, again, what happens is only when the user signs out and signs in, only then they will get changed. But anything which is very, very important and significant, it is treated as immediate change. For example, Alan Carter left the company, and Alan Carter is already logged in here. Assume he is inside the cloud now, but he left the company, and that AD team came to know that Alan Carter account has to be removed, disabled. The moment they disable it, it becomes immediate change. No matter Alan Carter is logged in and working also, this will stop him. Hey, you don't have access. Stop working. It becomes these are called immediate changes.
So simply subscriptions, if we give, then he has to re-log in. Whereas if we remove, it is immediate. Am I right?
No, it's not like that actually. All the time it is not like that. See, the bottom line is what I want you to understand is there is something called Azure AD, and Azure AD is a directory, and this directory will have all the objects. What are those objects? Users, groups, and again all other like devices. All these things it will contain. And in order to get these objects, I need to sign up. That is the agenda here. The main goal behind learning this thing is you need to know that there is something called Azure AD, which is like a directory which will have all the objects like users, groups, and directories, devices. In order to get these things, I need AD. Okay, I got it. But again, this user, what will he work with? Right? For example, you are having a internet connection, but you don't have a plan. What can you do with it? You have an account already. Means you can log into the internet the browser and you can see the router, everything you can do, but you cannot get the service, right? And to get the service, here we are talking about the subscription. So subscription is like a security boundary actually. It's like a security boundary, and we'll talk about that actually. But initially, I want you to understand this. The connection here. So what is the relationship between Azure AD and the subscription? That you need to understand, because if you understand this one, Azure becomes very easy. Right?
Yeah, I understand. Just maybe see you in this whatever example you have shown, you created user and user logged in, and the next time he has no subscriptions, and then you have added subscription. Then at that time you said that the user has to re-log in to use the subscriptions.
Exactly.
Okay, but whereas
not only for subscription, whatever changes, right? Whatever changes my administrator does, that is the reason every time, right? We can't keep our system logged in already, right? Sometimes things may change, right? What changes means there are hundreds of changes. We don't know what changes, right? So, but example is the access changes. Whatever access changes you do, right? Those things will reflect only when you relog in. Means Alan Carter, right? So this is again Alan Carter logging in to Azure and again trying to access some database. This was yesterday, right? And meantime, administrator has revoked access on this database. Alan Carter again left his machine logged in already, and today he is trying to access, but still he cannot access because already there is enough gap for syncing, right? And that immediate changes will reflect. Means anything you deny, any deny permission you apply, it will be immediate, right?
Okay,
anything you deny, anything you deny, it will be immediate. It won't take not much time. Anything you give access, you have to log off and log in. Simple. For example, he has given access to another database. For example, he revoked this access, and again he has given a new access on a new database. And in that case, what happens? This will be immediate, and this will not be immediate. Again, to get this token, what he has to do, he has to log in back. Then the ARM what it does, ARM what it does is it will again give him back the token, and presenting the token means this Alan Carter account will have a token attached. So this token will help him to prove his authority. Okay, here is the ticket. See this. My administrator has approved me access you, and then accordingly database will allow him to work on that database. So that is how it goes, right? But ultimately, all I need is what is Azure AD, right? And what is a subscription, right? Azure AD is useful for user and group management and for authorization and authentication and authorization, and subscription is useful for managing resources. These resources can be VMs, databases, networks, and again storage accounts and so on. That's it. If you say you understood this one, then we're almost done. Any questions here? Sorry. Right. So likewise, again, yeah, I'm already inside, right? So the story, actually everything begins at Active Directory. So here we are actually learning about the module 1, right? When I say Active Directory, Azure, when I sign up or when you sign up, what happens is you will be getting an Active Directory. As an individual or as in a company, both of us will be getting an Active Directory. Microsoft treats everybody as a company. It doesn't treat an individual as a company or a company as a company. It will treat every account as a company. That is the reason it will treat everybody as a tenant. Right? So Narendra is again a tenant. TCS is also a tenant. Means Narendra is an individual. Even though he is an individual, having Active Directory is called a tenant. Right? Narendra signed up Azure and got Active Directory, and that Active Directory is nothing but a directory. Anybody who is having directory is called a tenant. Is called a tenant. And now this tenant has got users. Right? Getting my point? So these are all users, and this user will be having a user object ID, tenant ID, and the object ID. This is again object ID. Got it? So this is how Microsoft can differentiate you and I. Means, for example, you signed up, right? It is again what I call Praveen signed up, and Narendra also signed up. Both of us signed up into Azure. It's again Azure only. And now how will it differentiate you and yourself and myself with your tenant ID and with my tenant ID? Means this is a customer and this is a customer for Azure, for Microsoft. Means Microsoft treats every individual as a company. It will not treat me as a user. Though I am a user, but still it is a company for Microsoft. Right? Nothing but anybody who possesses directory is called a tenant. Anybody who possesses a directory is called a tenant. So for my case, I am a tenant to Microsoft. Right? This account has been created in Microsoft directory, and I become a tenant. If I go back to my parent here, this is called again my initial blade, we call it as. So here this is again anybody who is having this tenant ID is that means they are having Active Directory. So Active Directory and tenant both are same. Right? This is how Microsoft will differentiate a user with another user, means a company with another company. And again, inside the company, how will the users are different? Because they are having different domain names altogether. Because if you join Tata, it will be nm@tcs.com, nm@wipro.com, right? Likewise, domain names will be different, right, for different users. And here, this is my registered domain name. All my users will have the same common name here, right? Sricharan again got wilmatech.com. Alan Carter has got wilmatech.com. NM has got wilmatech.com. Likewise, this is my company name. That way what happens, my user principal name, we call it as user principal name, means ac@domain.com is called user principal name. Right? So likewise, users are different and the tenant is different. So tenant is somebody who is having directory. It's a company. Right? This is a company, and within the company I have users. Is it clear or confusing?
Like, what are the privileges that user can have normally when first time he logs?
He will not have any
privileges. Can he create other users?
No, cannot. He will just have a normal. For example, you got an internet account. What can you do when you log into the internet account or anything, any account, online account you have subscribed? The moment you get an account, what you can do? Initially, you can do nothing, right? Based on the need, my administrator will give him the role. Now, Alan Carter is actually, who is he now?
He's a user.
No, he's not user actually. He is what? I gave him a role, right?
Yeah, you gave him a role. Yeah.
Solutions architect means above the user. Top level of the user. Solutions architect means he needs more privileges. And if he is a normal user, he doesn't have those many privileges. Means not everybody is same, right? In a company, there will be profiles, like normal users, again subordinates, again superintendents, again their hierarchy, everything hierarchically it flows, right? So likewise, it's me actually. It is me who will decide all these things, right? And I just started my company as an individual, and I hired Alan Carter. Now Alan Carter is helping me to plan and design my architecture of my Azure now. Now Alan Carter says, hey Narendra, can you please bring in a software developer? Because I wanted to build some websites or again web applications I want to build. Alan Carter says, I'm a solutions architect. Can you please bring in application owner? And then I'll have to employ another person, and I hire him for software development. And then that guy will be responsible for creating application, developing an application, and again hosting application, front end, back end, connectivity. All those things are taken care by him. And this guy, what he does? This guy actually, how he helps me? He will help me establish my company. Means he will think through all the corners. Why will I need an architect, civil architect? Tell me. What is the idea behind hiring a civil architect for whenever I'm building an apartment? Because he's the one who plans, right? He's the one who plans. Similarly, here also, solutions architect is the person who is hired at the first place, and he is the one who will actually design everything. Means he is the one who will design and plan. And how many networks I should have? 3 networks. And how many subnets I should have? You'll understand these things little later, but this time being I'm just drawing like that. This is VNets and these are all subnets. Right? So likewise, he is the one who will actually design, who will lay out the plan. So what do you mean by plan here? He is the one who will actually gets me these things, right? Sorry. I'm not sure I kept it there. Let me see. So the architecture, what it does, we will actually design this architecture. Means as soon as a company begins, means as soon as a company gets registered, he is the one who will actually help the owners. Right? Okay, I'm not having it here. I'll load it another PPT. Right? So ultimately, what you need to understand is, whenever you sign up Azure, you will be getting Active Directory, and that is helpful for creating the user objects, group objects, and the device objects, so that you can start your company. It's as simple as that.
Tenant is like a owner of the company and users of the employees of the company, right?
Correct. Exactly. Tenant is like an owner and users are nothing but users, employees. Simple. There's no much complication there. Exactly. So yeah, I think, yeah. So this is again a good example. For example, so as soon as a company gets started, so what it does, they will plan their company. Means planning and designing will be taking place. Right? Right? So now as a company, what happens? I hired Alan Carter. Then Alan Carter, what he does, he will plan. So do I have any on-premise servers? Do I have any on-premises branch office or head office, or what are the locations I have my data centers? He will take those data centers and connect those data centers with Azure. This is again East US region Azure, and this is again West US region Azure. Means he will establish connectivity between on-premises and Azure, and accordingly he will also plan the VNets here, and accordingly he will also plan all the subnets and the workloads, everything he will plan. He will plan everything in place by coordinating with the application owner. And once he syncs with application owner, so for example, application owner says, I want to host SAP application, right? Application owner wants SAP application. And architect, what he does, he will go through all SAP documentation and he will include all its components. Means it will have a application server pool, and it will have a backend database tier, and at the same time it will have something called repository where it stores all the repository files, and it will have something called backup here, and same way it will have some disaster recovery environment also needs to be set up for application server and the backup server. Likewise, he will create all the structure. He will actually establish everything now, right? Accordingly, it all begins. So here, if you see, identity is here. This is my Azure Active Directory, right? So likewise, company starts, right? My company will begin like this. Any questions so far? Right? So for example, my company again had some bunch of users, more number of users, right? Some 10 people have joined my company, assume today. And now as an employee, along with Alan Carter, I asked Alan Carter, hey Alan Carter, 10 people have joined. Would you be able to help me in creating 10 user accounts for me? Then Alan Carter says, yes, I can do that, right? But how he does, he will go to this bulk operations here, right? And here he will create bulk create. He will click on bulk create, and here he will download the template, right? And he will open the template, right? And here he will fill in all the details shared by the HR. So what are the details here? He requires display name of the user principal name, I told, right? Username @ domain name is called UPN, and initial password. What is the password for the username? Block sign in, first name, last name. Likewise, we have all columns horizontally, and here you need to fill up from A to G compulsory. I mean A to F at least. These are compulsory parameters. So likewise, he has to fill in all the new employee details in this template and upload this template and execute this template. And there is a matter. He will create 10 users in one stretch, 200 users in one stretch, 1000 users in one stretch. Likewise, whatever number of users you want to create in bulk, you can do it within no time. For example, in my case, I have already got my users here. For example, this is my path, usual path, and there I'll save my all data here, because I need to spend some time in filling up data, right? Instead, what I will do, I will use my existing template here, where I have already filled in my user details. Some 10 people have joined. I have hired Linux administrators, right? I have hired Linux administrators and Wintel administrators, Linux administrators, storage admins, network admins. All people I have hired, and their first name and last name you can see here. Suresh Rathod and Kyle Weiss, Billy John, Amarnath Kakarla, Gautam Raj, Mikil Joe, Jim Sally. Like all these details you have to fill in, and their username and password. What is their username? SQLDBA@wilmatech.com. Username is yahoo@123.com. Likewise, you should not disturb the columns here, because this is CSV file. If you disturb the width of the column here, template will not work, and don't disturb the width here. So just type it here properly accordingly, and check out what is this column about, means this row is about. So this is again username, initial password, first name, last name, and so on. You have to fill in this data. Once you fill in this data, if you think all set, then see what is this? Download, edit, upload. That's just 3 steps. And now what I'll do, I'll just upload the template. So this is the template, and I'll say OK. And a file uploaded successfully, then you need to submit it. And this way what happens, your creating bulk operations. Means you are creating bulk users. 10 people have joined your company and you are creating 10 users in one stretch, because all this data is already maintained by your HR. HR at the time of employing people, what they will do, they will actually maintain first name and last name, right? Which department do they belong to, and contact number, their email address, all those details are already maintained. And only thing is you have to just populate that into your template and run it. That's it. And once you do that, you can see all those users will be created within no time here. So here, click here to view status of each operation, right? So once you click here, you will come to know what happened to those users, right? So when did I submit this one here? 9:32. Now it is 9:32 p.m. So what is the activity now? Completed with no errors. Means 15 users have been created with no errors. Total requests. And again, go back to users here. You will see all of them. Linux administrator, network administrator, SQL administrator, storage administrator. And if you don't see your users here, just click on load more here, and then you will see all of the users here. So this way, what happens? I have created bulk users, and now I have got teams, right? Now I've got teams, users, bulk users are there. Now means Wintel group is there, storage group is there, everybody is there. Now what I will do as an administrator, I'll go back to Active Directory here, right? And I will create groups. So what I'll do, I'll create groups like this. I'll say new group, and I'll just keep it as security group here, not Office 365. Just choose security here. Why, I will tell you in a moment. And here, call it as security group Windows admins. Right? Security group Windows administrators. Sorry. Select it and just type the description as same thing here. And you can make one person as the owner. 10 people are there, right? Your team lead will be the owner of this group. You can make one person as an owner. Now I don't want it. I'll show you later. And now what I want to include all the Windows administrators in this group. I'll say no members selected here. Click on that. Now choose all the Windows administrators. Just type W. And here you have Windows admin 1, 2, 3. Just click once, only once. Right? And select. And this is what happens. You are creating a group here and adding users to that group. Right? And now you have a team now. Security group called Windows administrators. And for this team, you will give access to Windows machines. Same way, you have another team here. For example, you have storage admins, right? I call it as security group storage admins, right? And now again, I'll go to this place here and select storage admin 1, storage admin 2, so just single click 3 and select, and that's it. And now create, right? This is how I will create groups here and add members to the group. And for this group, I will give permission to the resources. For storage, right? I don't have anything in storage now. So if I have storage, what I will do? I will give access to the storage account. If I have VMs, I will give access to the VMs. And that is how whole team will get access to the required resources. All team members, storage admins will have access only storage, network admins will have access only to the network, SQL admins will have only access to SQL, right? And so on. This is how it flows, right? First thing is what? You don't have anything. You have signed up Azure and you got Azure AD and you have created users, and after that you have created groups, and again at the same time you have a subscription here, and in this subscription you have all the resources. These are all resources. What resources? This is DB, this is network, this is storage, and this is all VMs. Likewise, whichever group you want to give access, storage accounts should be given access to storage. Windows administrator should be given access to Windows VMs. And again, DBAs, right? DBAs should be given access to DBs. And network administrators will be given access to networks. Likewise, we will begin our journey into cloud. So any questions so far?
So while
Right.
creating a new user, can we give the group as well? Like, instead
Yes.
when,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Yeah, it's
While creating the group itself, for example, if the group is already there, right? For example,
Yes.
you are going to Active Directory here, and here you are creating a new storage account. Means a new storage admin has joined, for example, right? So now what I'll do, I'll just copy this name here. For example, 1, 2, 3 are there. 4th new user has joined. Right now, I am creating a storage account administrator now. So I'll say storage admin 4. Right? I'll select storage admin 4 here. Right? And here I will select the domain name, wilmotech.com. And this is again Ganesh. Right? So I'll just here groups, right? Select the group here. And here itself, which group is it? Storage admin group. And just select yes. And again, you can give him the location. Where is he working from? Right? If he's working from Canada, you can select Canada. If he's working from US, means all these regions you can select it here. Right? So likewise, you can just choose the required region. I mean, wherever your user works, right? And job title. What is he now? Storage admin, right? And which department is it? IT department. What company? Wilma Technologies. And who is his manager, right? There will be one lead, right? And that manager, you need to select it here. And then create. So this is how you can add a user, or you need not add. Getting my point? You have added manually, right? Now you have added manually, but if you don't want to add it manually, you have another option called dynamic groups. So you can just simply keep a dynamic group, and automatically this newly created user will get added to that group automatically. That is possible. Right? They're called dynamic groups. But the groups what I showed you is assigned groups. Right? If you go to Wilmotech here, right? So this is where you should see groups. You will have all the types of groups here. Membership type is all assigned, right? But ultimately we are not going there till there. I'm just showing you the flow here, how it goes. We get account, we get subscription, we employ people, we create groups, we will add employees to the groups concerned, and we'll give permissions to the groups on the resources. That is how it goes. Right? It's as simple as that. But ultimately, if we talk about Azure Active Directory, let me load the PPT here, then you'll understand it better. Right? So as I was telling you, right, initially, if you want to start a company, what happens is, first thing you need to find a site and then build all the infrastructure. You need to buy racks, again ACs, all infrastructure you have to procure. And then you'll build all the servers. And then you'll build identity. And then you'll build all other management resources like configuration management, monitoring, security, application, databases, HA, DR, and so on. This is how your company will grow. Company will get established full-fledgedly in a span of time. Right? And for that purpose, we need to follow something, right? We are building our things in the cloud. If it is cloud, it is different, right? So if it is cloud, what happens is you'll have this model. So you'll have to have Azure AD. What it will do, it will give us opportunity of creating users, groups, devices, and also it will help me integrate the applications, so that application users can get authenticated with Azure AD while accessing the application. And hybrid identity. Hybrid identity is again a process of taking your on-premises users to cloud. I'll talk about that. But ultimately, this is how your company looks like. On one side, you'll have Azure AD. On the other hand, you'll have subscription. And inside the subscription, you'll have something called resource groups. And inside the resource group, you'll have all the resources. So here you have account. And it is like me, for example, it is like me having multiple houses, right? And likewise here in IT, we call it as subscription. Subscription is a place where you'll have all the resources, right? It's me identity and buying subscription, and inside the subscription I'm building all the resources. This is development subscription, test subscription, and production subscription. Then what is a subscription here? Subscription is nothing but a plan. Just treat it as a plan and a security boundary, so that these resources will not mix with these resources. These resources will not mix with these resources. Means they cannot access, because they're all different subscriptions. I can make them access, but I want to isolate them, because development is different, test is different, and production is different, right? And this is where I'm building three subscriptions for one person. Can I have multiple houses? Yes, right? This is me, I'm having multiple subscriptions. Can a house have multiple owners? No, right? That's the reason you have only one owner here. Only one owner. So likewise, you can create up to 800 subscriptions in one account. It's like a folder actually. Subscription is like a folder which will have a subfolder called resource groups. And that is where we will build all the resources. Right? But again, what is it doing for me? Active Directory. So it is actually doing only two things: authentication and authorization. Right? And again, when you say Active Directory, there are two types. One is Windows Active Directory, Azure Active Directory. So Windows Active Directory, if you want to build, you need to have some site, you need to purchase server, you need to build a VM, you need to install OS, you need to install AD on it, and then you will get the Windows Active Directory. But did we do all those things in cloud? We didn't do. We got Active Directory readily available. The moment I sign up, I get an Active Directory. Active Directory as a service, where I'll just sign up. The moment I sign up, I get Active Directory. And what will I do with this Active Directory? I will create all the user objects, group objects, and again computer objects, so that I can allow my users to work with all the cloud resources. These are all cloud resources, so that they can get authenticated and authorized. Likewise, I can integrate my Windows on-premises with Azure. That integration is called hybrid identity. Right? I'm bringing in my on-premises Active Directory and Azure Active Directory and clubbing both of them. Then it becomes a hybrid identity. Means I have company which was established in 2015, assume. Right? In 2015, I established my on-premises company. And now we are in 2021. I want to buy cloud, means I want to adopt cloud. And here meantime means 2015 to 2021, I have got some 5,000 users, right? I've got 5,000 users, and again 500 groups I have already created. Means 2015 to 2021, I have got these many objects already. And now what should happen to those objects when they are trying to access the cloud resources? Assume. And this 5,000 users means I want to integrate my on-premises. I want to integrate with on-premises with Azure. Right? And Azure has got resources. And this users, on-premises users, wants to access this Azure resources. And if I want to do that, then what I have to do? I have to integrate these two identities, and that becomes hybrid identity, so that these users can log into on-premises, right? They can log into on-premises, right? And they can also log into cloud for accessing the resources, same users. So here in Azure Active Directory, I need not recreate them. These will get replicated here. Means here you will get 5,000 users, and again 500 groups will be also available in your Azure Active Directory. so that same users can access on-premises, same users can access cloud resources, so that you need not reinvent the wheel with the help of hybrid identity. So that is the power of hybrid identity here. Right? Any questions here?
So it is a feature in the Azure or what exactly?
It's a feature in Azure.
So we need to load all the probably the details or the cloud as well.
Yeah, I mean we will work on that. I will show you. We have a lab for that. I will take you there. But ultimately, primarily, I want you to understand what is Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory is a cloud-based identity. Cloud-based identity. That's it. And cloud-based suite of identity management capabilities that enable you to securely manage and access all resources within your Azure. Right? It can also be used for managing applications also, and also it can be integrated. That is the power of Azure AD. Azure AD is again, it's a directory. Even Windows AD also, it's a directory. So my lab, whenever I'm talking, I'll be using two terms here. Right? Whenever it is on-premises, I'll be calling it as Windows AD. Whenever it is cloud, I'll be calling it as Azure AD. But both are same. Both will offer me the same thing. This one requires infrastructure, means I have to purchase a server, I have to build it, I have to install OS, I have to configure domain controller role on it. Then I will be getting these roles. But on the other side, no infrastructure. There is no infrastructure needed. Did I build any infrastructure while signing up? I didn't do that, right? I just signed up and I got my identity. Right? The moment you sign up, you will get the AD. And that is the beauty of AD here. You need not maintain any infrastructure here for running these things here. Right? So likewise, you have Windows AD and Azure AD. Azure AD is a cloud-based identity provider. Windows AD is an on-premises based identity provider. We call it as domain controller. Right? So that is how it goes. But again, to properly understand Active Directory, you need to have some basics knowledge on Windows also. Right? So if you want to create a AD, for example, Active Directory you want, where will you install it on an operating system? So where will you install this operating system on a virtual machine? So where will you install this VM on a physical machine? Where will you have it on premises? This is again physical location, right? Sorry, on premises. This is nothing but site. Right? This is physical location, and you will buy physical server, and you will build a virtual server on it, and you will install OS on it, and you will install AD on it, and this will become a domain controller. Right? This will become a domain controller. And what is AD here? AD is nothing but collection of objects. What are objects? Users, computers, printers, groups, OUs, right? Again, shared folders, contacts. Again, yeah, I wrote it already. OU, I wrote it. So these are called objects. A user account is an object. A computer account is an object. A group account is an object. All these are called objects. In order to get this object, you need to have AD. In order to get the AD, you need to have an OS. What OS is it required? 2012 or 16 or 2019. These are the server flavors you need to have. Only then you can install AD on it. Once you install AD on it, this will become a DC, domain controller. All these things are required if you talk about Windows AD. So this is all infrastructure. From here to here, it is all called infrastructure. So I need to build it. If I want to build it, first thing I need to have a site. Then I have to purchase it. Then I have to deploy OS and again VM. And then I have to install AD. Then I can create user account. Then I can create a group account. Then I can create a printer. Then I can create a computer account. Got it? So again, for example, if you want to build this thing in the cloud, right? If you want to build this in the same thing in the cloud, so what you can do easily, you can do that. But again, before thinking that way, so I need to understand why do I want to build it in the cloud, right? So these things again I'm talking about on-site, right? So on-site again, before cloud, this was the approach. If it is cloud, again, you need to understand this terminology here. Windows AD requires on-premises, requires a physical server, requires a virtual server. On top of it, you have to install operating system. Which operating system? 2012, 16 or 19. And on top of it, you have to install AD. Then it will become a domain controller. Once it becomes a domain controller, you will get all the objects. What are objects? Users, computers, sources, printers, groups, shared folders, contacts. So this is the approach, right? Likewise, if you want to start a company, you need to go this route or the cloud route. Totally up to you, right? This is one way of getting your Windows AD. And on the other hand, what is the other opportunity we have? Sign up and you will get Azure AD without having you to put all these efforts. You will get it here, right here itself. But both are same. Both will offer me the same thing. Here also, you can create objects, but not same objects like these numbers, right? You cannot create an OU, you cannot create a printer, you cannot create a shared folder. Those things are not available here, but you can create users, groups, and devices. Only 3 objects types you can create it in Azure AD. But both will give me the same benefit, AA, authentication and authorization. That's it. Got it? I will show you how to do this, and I will show you how to do this also. But you need to understand the concepts here. Once you understand the concepts, then we are good, right? And now there is some differences here between this one and this one. There are some differences. You know, right? You got the difference here. Only these types of objects you can create here. That is one difference. And if you see, the other differences are, for example, Windows AD, Azure AD, right? So Windows AD requires infrastructure. It requires servers, VMs, and so on. Here, no infrastructure. This is again on-premises based identity provider. This is cloud-based identity provider. I'm writing it in short forms. Cloud-based identity provider, right? And then if you want to access this Windows AD, you can use RDP, means you can log into the machine using RDP protocol, whereas here you can use HTTP or HTTPS for logging into the Azure AD. Means you will use a browser, right, for accessing Azure AD. But here you can't access it through the browser, but you will have to use something called RDP. What is that RDP? You will have to type in MSTSC, right? You will see something called remote desktop. By using this one, you will type in the IP of the machine and log into the machine. So this is called RDP based access, right? So likewise, these are some of the comparisons, right? And again here it uses something called LDAP, and there is no such thing called LDAP here. And here it uses something called Kerberos. Kerberos has its authentication protocol, whereas here it uses OAuth2 plus Open ID Connect. This is for authentication and this is for authorization. I told you, right? Azure AD or Windows AD helps me only providing authentication and authorization, nothing much, right? That's it. It will not provide me anything beyond that. And if it is on premises, it uses Kerberos as its authentication protocol. But when it comes to cloud, it is OpenID is authentication protocol. OAuth 2 is the authorization protocol. These are all differences between Windows AD and Azure AD. And also you have structure here, no flat structure, right? Here you have something called flat structure. Here you have something called hierarchical structure. So what do you mean by that? Right? So if it is Windows AD, you will see something like this. A directory is always represented in the form of triangle. This is called root, actually, root directory. And within this, you can also have one more directory, right? One more. This is called child, and this is called grandchild, right? So, for example, root.wilmatech.com, right? Child.wilmatech.com. This is called grandchild.child.wilmatech.com. This is again a hierarchical structure, we call it as. Means you can have a top level domain, child level domain, and grandchild level domain. Any levels you can create it. And this entire thing is called a tree. And same way, if you have one more thing here on the other side, and this is called some other name, right? root2.com, assume, and this entire thing will become a forest. This is called a forest, and this three domain controllers which are sharing the same naming convention here, same namespace, we call it as wt.com, wt.com, and wt.com, which is a tree, means collection of domain controllers which share common namespace. Collection of trees which do not share common namespace, forest. So this is how we have AD concepts, actually. So all these things are again covered under Windows administration. So that is the reason Windows administration is required to some extent. Once you are comfortable with that, then we are good. So likewise, you need to understand all these things. Understanding the sense, you should have an idea. Without having an idea on all these things, it's little difficult to digest. But again, some or the other way you have to start, right? But ultimately, this is the hierarchical structure, we call it as. So when I say hierarchical structure, I'm not taking much time from here. So when you say Active Directory, you have structure here, right? When I say structure here, you have physical and logical, or you can write left and right, whatever it is. Logical structure, you have, physical, you have domain controllers and sites, and logical, you have domain, right, OUs, trees, and forests. This is how the AD is structured. So domain controller means it's a physical server, actually. You can see it, right? This is actually used for representing your business. Means if you want to start a company, you have to start it physically somewhere, right? And that is the reason you'll have to purchase a server. The moment you purchase a server, it becomes physical. And also it also represents something called sites physically, right? All these components fall in physical side. Anything which you can't see is logical. You can't see an OU, you can't see a tree, you can't see a forest, you can't see a domain. That's the reason they're called logical, right? So likewise, we keep on moving ahead with this. So next time again when we meet, what we will do, we will build a domain controller, right? We will build a Windows AD on a VM, on a PM, on my machine. And also we have Azure AD, right? and we will connect these two things, means going forward. Maybe next class, I don't know whether it is possible or not, but this is how it goes. You will improvise. Every class you will see one or the other new experiments and so on. But initially, to start with, I will make you build this infrastructure. And also, I will make you build the same thing in cloud also. The same thing what you'll do, here you'll spin up a VM, and on top of it you will install Windows AD. So same thing you'll also have it here, right? So this is again a hybrid identity, we call it as, right? So likewise I'll make you do that. I have labs here, I will share you the labs, but again we need not rush it here. But only thing is I want you to review this entire video, and try to understand what is AD, what is Windows AD, and what are the differences, right? So going back to the PPT here, right? So here I'll just come to this point in a moment, right? But again, Windows AD versus Active Directory. So what is Windows AD here? Azure AD. Azure AD is primarily an identity solution designed for HTTP or HTTPS based communication. And here actually it is accessible over APIs. What is API here? Right? Anything you open right here, it's an API. If you try to click it here, it's an API. Means it's written in JSON. Everything, whatever you touch in Azure, it's all APIs, application programming interface. And they're all combination of piece of code actually. And all these things are again possible only in Azure AD. But instead in Windows what happens? It is LDAP. Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. Means this is the protocol which it uses for, means a computer wants to talk to another computer, LDAP. A computer wants to talk to another user. A user wants to talk to a computer, LDAP. Means an object to object communication is possible with the help of LDAP. And same way in Azure what happens? OAuth 2 and OpenID Connect. These are the protocols it uses. For Windows, Kerberos. And again, you can also federate. Means you can club. Assume that you have a company and I have a company. If we both of us want to club together, we call it as federation, right? And also Azure AD users and groups are created in flat structure. They don't have any hierarchical structure, and there are no organizational units and the group policies. So this is an important point here. For this purpose, we have to take another route. I'll talk about that route when we come back next week. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right. Hope I'm not boring you guys.
No, it was interesting.